Imagine being born into poverty, losing your mother as a child, being abandoned by your father, and growing up believing that the world had forgotten you. Now imagine that same little girl growing up to build one of the most famous luxury fashion brands in history. This is the remarkable story of Gabrielle Coco Chanel, a woman who transformed fashion forever. But before she became a global icon, she was simply a frightened child searching for hope. Today, we're going back to where it all began. Chapter 1. A difficult beginning. The year was 1883. In the quiet town of Saumur, France, on August 19th, a baby girl was born. Her name was Gabrielle Bonheur Chanel. No one could have imagined that this little girl would one day become one of the most influential designers in history. Her family was poor. Her father, Albert Chanel, worked as a street vendor, traveling from town to town selling clothing and household goods. Work was unpredictable and money was always scarce. Her mother, Jean Duval, struggled to care for the family while battling illness. Life was hard. Food was limited. The children often wore worn-out clothes. Every day was a struggle for survival. Yet young Gabrielle quietly observed the world around her. Even as a child, she noticed fabrics, colors, and the way people dressed. She didn't know it yet, but these small observations would shape her future. Chapter 2. Tragedy changes everything. When Gabrielle was only 12 years old, tragedy struck. Her mother died after years of illness. The loss shattered the family. Soon afterward, her father made a heartbreaking decision. Unable or unwilling to care for his children, he left them behind. Gabrielle and her sisters were sent to the orphanage at the Abbey of Aubazine. For Gabrielle, it felt like the world had ended. She waited for her father to return. Days became weeks. Weeks became months. Months became years. He never came back. That painful feeling of abandonment stayed with her for the rest of her.
For the rest of her life. Chapter 3. Life inside the orphanage. The orphanage was unlike any home Gabrielle had ever known. Everything followed strict rules. The girls woke up early. They prayed. They studied. They worked. Silence filled the halls. Discipline shaped every hour. There were no fancy dresses. No colorful decorations. No luxury. Only simple black and white uniforms. Ironically, these simple colors would later inspire some of Chanel's most famous fashion creations. The orphanage also taught something invaluable: sewing. The nuns patiently showed the girls how to repair clothing, stitch fabric, and create garments by hand. Most children saw sewing as another chore. Gabrielle saw possibility. Every stitch became a lesson. Every piece of fabric became a new opportunity to learn. Without realizing it, the orphanage was giving her the skill that would change her destiny. Chapter 4. Dreams beyond the walls. Although life was difficult, Gabrielle refused to stop dreaming. Late at night, she imagined a different future. She imagined beautiful cities, elegant women, fine clothing, a life far beyond the orphanage walls. She wondered if someone from such a humble beginning could ever become successful. Many people would have given up. Gabrielle didn't. Instead, every hardship strengthened her determination. She promised herself one thing: one day, she would never be poor again. One day, she would create a better life. Chapter 5. Learning independence. When Gabrielle reached adulthood, she left the orphanage. She found work as a seamstress. The pay was small. The hours were long. She spent countless days repairing clothes for others. Sometimes she questioned whether life would ever improve. But she continued working. Every customer taught her something. Every garment revealed a new technique. She noticed that wealthy women often wore clothing that looked beautiful, but was uncomfortable. Heavy dresses, tight corsets, layers of fabric that made everyday movement.
Abilities.
Chapter 6. Evenings in the cafe. After long days of sewing, Gabrielle sometimes sang in cafes. She wasn't a professional singer. She simply enjoyed performing for small audiences. One of the songs she often performed included the words "Que tu es vieux Coco," Soon, regular customers began calling her by a new nickname: Coco. The name stayed with her. Years later, the entire world would know her by those 4 letters. At the time, however, Coco was still searching for her place in life. She had talent. She had ambition. But she had little money. Chapter 7: Meeting influential people while performing in cafes. Coco met wealthy military officers and businessmen. Unlike many people, they noticed her confidence. She carried herself differently. She spoke with intelligence. She had opinions. Most importantly, she believed she was capable of something greater. One of the men she met encouraged her ambitions and helped introduce her to a different world, a world filled with elegant homes, horse racing, fashionable society, and opportunity. For the first time, Coco saw how wealthy women lived. She also noticed something surprising. Even the richest women often sacrificed comfort for fashion. That observation stayed with her. She believed clothing should give women freedom, not restrict them. Chapter 8: The birth of an idea. Slowly, Coco began making simple hats. Unlike the oversized hats covered in feathers and decorations that were fashionable at the time, her designs were clean, elegant, and practical. Friends admired them. Then strangers started asking where they could buy one. She realized something important. People wanted simplicity. They wanted timeless elegance. Without knowing it, Coco Chanel had taken the very first step toward creating one of the world's most
famous fashion houses. Closing, the little orphan who once believed she had been forgotten was beginning to discover her purpose. The hardships of her childhood had not defeated her. Instead, they had shaped her. Every painful memory, every lonely night, every stitch she sewed, was preparing her for something extraordinary. But her greatest challenges and greatest successes were still ahead. The story of Coco Chanel, Part 2. The rise of a fashion revolutionary. Opening. When we left Coco Chanel, she had survived poverty, heartbreak, and years in an orphanage. She had learned to sew, discovered her love for simple elegance, and begun making stylish hats that caught people's attention. But talent alone wasn't enough. To change the fashion world, Coco would have to take enormous risks, and those risks would change history forever. Chapter 9. The first boutique. By 1910, Coco had one clear dream: to own her own business. With financial support from Arthur Boy Capel, a wealthy businessman who believed in her talent, she rented a small shop at 21 Rue Cambon in Paris. The shop specialized in ladies' hats. Compared to other boutiques, Coco's store looked surprisingly simple. There were no extravagant decorations or flashy displays. Instead, her hats reflected her philosophy: clean lines, refined elegance, and effortless beauty. First, business was slow. Some days only a handful of customers visited. But Coco refused to give up. She personally greeted customers, adjusted designs, and listened carefully to their opinions. She understood that fashion wasn't just about clothing. It was about confidence. Chapter 10. A different vision. Paris was considered the fashion capital of the world. Designers competed to create the most elaborate dresses imaginable. Large feathers, heavy embroidery, complicated corsets. Women admired these creations, but wearing them was exhausting. Coco noticed something others ignored. Women were becoming more active. They wanted to walk comfortably, travel, work, ride horses, drive cars. Traditional fashion wasn't designed for this new lifestyle. Coco believed women deserved clothing that moved with them instead of restricting them. Many critics laughed at her ideas. Some claimed no respectable woman would wear such simple clothing. But Coco remained confident. Sometimes the greatest innovations begin as unpopular ideas. Chapter 11. The Jersey Revolution. During this period, Coco began experimenting with jersey fabric. At the time, jersey was considered inexpensive material mostly used for men's underwear. Luxury designers ignored it completely. Coco saw opportunity where others saw limitations. She transformed jersey into elegant dresses, blouses, and sportswear. The clothing was soft, comfortable, practical. Women could finally breathe, move freely. Live actively, customers loved the change. Demand grew rapidly. Soon, Coco's designs were appearing across France. Chapter 12. Expanding the business success gave Coco confidence. She opened additional boutiques in fashionable seaside towns such as Deauville and Biarritz. These locations attracted wealthy families who spent summers on the French coast. Visitors quickly noticed Coco's fresh approach to fashion. Instead of dressing women like decorative objects, she designed clothing for real life. Simple striped shirts, comfortable jackets, relaxed dresses, elegant sweaters. These pieces looked modern, sophisticated, timeless. Many customers purchased entire wardrobes. Word spread quickly. Fashion magazines began discussing the mysterious designer named Coco Chanel. Chapter 13. The war that changed fashion. Then came World War I. The conflict transformed Europe. Many fashion houses struggled. Luxury fabrics became difficult to obtain. Women's lives changed dramatically. Many entered the workforce while men fought on the battlefield. Heavy evening gowns no longer suited everyday life. Coco's practical clothing suddenly became exactly what women needed. Her simple designs matched the realities of wartime. While many businesses suffered, Chanel's popularity continued to grow. She wasn't simply following fashion anymore. She was shaping it.
Chapter 14. The Little Black Dress. In the years after the war, Coco introduced one of the most influential garments ever created: a simple black dress. Today, black dresses are common. But in the 1920s, black was mainly associated with mourning. Fashion experts questioned Coco's decision. Why would elegant women wear black? Coco believed elegance came from simplicity, not excessive decoration. Her design proved revolutionary. Soon, magazines praised the dress as a timeless essential. Women from different social classes embraced it. The little black dress became a symbol of sophistication. Even today, nearly every fashion brand offers its own version. The idea began with Coco Chanel. Chapter 15. Becoming a global name. By the early 1920s, Coco Chanel had become one of the most recognized designers in Europe. Her clients included actresses, artists, aristocrats, and wealthy socialites. But success never changed her work ethic. She constantly refined every design. She believed perfection was achieved not by adding more, but by removing everything unnecessary. This philosophy influenced every collection she created. People admired not only her clothing, but also her confidence. She challenged traditions, ignored criticism, and trusted her instincts. Chapter 16. The birth of Chanel No. 5. Coco wanted more than beautiful clothing. She wanted women to leave behind an unforgettable impression. In 1921, she partnered with master perfumer Ernest Bose to create a fragrance unlike anything else on the market. After testing several samples, Coco chose the 5th bottle. She simply named it Chanel No. 5. The perfume combined floral notes in a completely new way. Its bottle was equally revolutionary. Instead of ornate crystal designs popular at the time, Coco selected a clean, minimalist bottle. Elegant, modern, timeless. Women quickly fell in love with the fragrance. It became one of the best-selling perfumes in history. Even today, Chanel No. 5 remains one of the world's most
iconic fragrances. Chapter 17. Building an empire. By the mid-1920s, Coco Chanel's business had grown beyond anything she had imagined as a child in the orphanage. Her boutiques attracted customers from around the world. Fashion journalists eagerly awaited each new collection. Her influence spread far beyond France. Every new design challenged old traditions. Every success inspired countless young designers. Yet Coco remained focused. She believed true elegance wasn't about wealth. It was about confidence, grace, and simplicity. Chapter 18. A personal loss. Behind her growing success, Coco experienced deep personal sadness. Arthur Boy Capel, the man who had supported her dreams and encouraged her career, died in a tragic car accident in 1919. His death devastated her. Friends noticed she became quieter, more devoted to her work. Rather than allowing grief to defeat her, Coco poured her emotions into her designs. Fashion became both her passion and her escape. The story of Coco Chanel, Part 3. Building an empire opening by the early 1920s. Coco Chanel was no longer just a talented designer. She had become a symbol of modern fashion. Her boutiques were thriving, wealthy women waited eagerly for her latest collections, and Chanel No. 5 had become one of the most talked about perfumes in the world. But for Coco, success was never the finish line. She believed that every achievement was simply the beginning of the next challenge. Chapter 19. Fashion without limits. As her reputation grew, Coco became determined to change every aspect of women's fashion. She designed elegant sweaters, soft blouses, flowing skirts, and tailored jackets that allowed women to move comfortably while still looking sophisticated. She encouraged women to wear trousers for casual activities, something that was still considered unusual at the time. Many critics argued that her ideas were destroying traditional fashion. Newspapers debated whether her designs were too simple, but Coco paid little attention to criticism. She often said that true elegance was timeless, not dependent on passing trends. Chapter 20. The Chanel suit. One of Coco's greatest achievements was the creation of the Chanel suit. Instead of stiff, uncomfortable clothing, she designed a lightweight jacket paired with a simple skirt. The jacket featured clean lines, functional pockets, and comfortable fabric. The skirt allowed women to walk naturally. The suit quickly became a symbol of confidence and professionalism. Businesswomen, actresses, royalty, and influential public figures embraced the design. Decades later, the Chanel suit would remain one of the most recognizable outfits in fashion history. Chapter 21. Costume jewelry. Luxury jewelry had traditionally been reserved for the wealthy. Diamonds, pearls, and precious gemstones were symbols of social status. Coco challenged that idea. She introduced elegant costume jewelry made from less expensive materials. Chapter 26. Clouds on the horizon. As the 1930s came to an end, Europe became increasingly unstable. Political tensions rose. Nations prepared for war. The optimism of the previous decade slowly faded. Coco watched these events with concern. Her business depended on peace and international travel. If war came, everything she had built could be at risk. She hoped the conflict could be avoided. Unfortunately, history had other plans. Chapter 27. The beginning of World War II. In 1939, World War II began. France soon found itself under German occupation. Tourism disappeared. Luxury shopping came to a standstill. Many of Chanel's employees lost their jobs when she closed most of her fashion operations. Only the perfume business continued. For the first time in decades, the bustling Chanel boutiques fell silent. The glamorous world Coco had built was suddenly overshadowed by fear and uncertainty. Chapter 28. Decisions that changed her legacy. During the war, Coco Chanel became associated with a German officer while living at the Ritz Hotel in Paris. After the war ended, questions were raised about her actions during the occupation. These allegations became one of the most controversial chapters of her life. Some people defended her. Others strongly criticized her. Historians continue to debate parts of this period, and it remains a complex and controversial aspect of her legacy. Regardless of differing views, the controversy affected her reputation for many years. To avoid the intense public attention in France, Coco left for Switzerland, where she lived quietly for several years. Chapter 29. A new beginning. For nearly a decade after the war, Coco lived quietly in Switzerland. She watched from a distance as the fashion world changed. New designers dominated Paris, and luxurious, highly structured clothing became fashionable again. But Coco believed women deserved something different. She thought fashion should serve women, not control them. In 1954, at 71 years old, she returned to Paris and reopened the House of Chanel. Many newspapers dismissed her comeback. Some critics called her ideas outdated. Others predicted her business would fail within months. But Coco had faced rejection before. She wasn't afraid. Chapter 30. Winning the world again. Her first collection received mixed reviews in France. Some fashion critics were disappointed. However, women in Britain and the United States saw something different. They loved the comfort, simplicity, and elegance of Chanel's designs. Orders began arriving from around the world. Slowly, the critics changed their opinions. Once again, Coco Chanel proved that timeless style could outlast temporary trends. The Chanel suit became an international symbol of sophistication. Her quilted handbags, elegant jackets, and refined designs became icons of luxury. The comeback that many believed was impossible had become one of the greatest success stories in fashion history. Chapter 31. A life dedicated to work even in her 70s and 80s. Coco maintained an extraordinary work ethic. She visited her atelier almost every day. She adjusted designs herself. She inspected fabrics with the same attention to detail she had shown as a young seamstress. Her employees often said she never truly stopped working. Fashion wasn't simply her profession. It was her purpose. She once suggested that success comes from continuing to create, no matter your age or the obstacles in your path. That philosophy defined her entire life. Chapter 32. The woman behind the legend. Although the world knew Coco Chanel as a powerful businesswoman, those closest to her described a far more complicated person. She could be charming and generous. She could also be demanding and fiercely independent. She rarely accepted limits. She valued discipline, perfection, and personal freedom above almost everything else. The hardships of her childhood never completely left her. The little girl who had once feared poverty continued to work relentlessly, perhaps because she never wanted to experience that insecurity again. Her past shaped both her strengths and her flaws. Chapter 33. The final days. On January 10, 1971, Coco Chanel spent another day doing what she loved most. She worked. She reviewed fashion sketches. She discussed future collections. Even at 87 years old, she was still planning new ideas. Later that evening, she passed away peacefully in her room at the Ritz Hotel in Paris. The fashion world fell silent. Tributes came from designers, artists, journalists, and admirers across the globe. A woman who had begun life in poverty had become one of the most influential figures in fashion history. Chapter 26. Clouds on the horizon. As the 1930s came to an end, Europe became increasingly unstable. Political tensions rose. Nations prepared for war. The optimism of the previous decade slowly faded. Coco watched these events with concern. Her business depended on peace and international travel. If war came, everything she had built could be at risk. She hoped the conflict could be avoided. Unfortunately, history had other plans. Chapter 27. The beginning of World War II. In 1939, World War II began. France soon found itself under German occupation. Tourism disappeared. Luxury shopping came to a standstill. Many of Chanel's employees lost their jobs when she closed most of her fashion operations. Only the perfume business continued. For the first time in decades, the bustling Chanel boutiques fell silent. The glamorous world Coco had built was suddenly overshadowed by fear and uncertainty. Chapter 28. Decisions that changed her legacy. During the war, Coco Chanel became associated with a German officer while living at the Ritz Hotel in Paris. After the war ended, questions were raised about her actions during the occupation. These allegations became one of the most controversial chapters of her life. Some people defended her. Others strongly criticized her. Historians continue to debate parts of this period, and it remains a complex and controversial aspect of her legacy. Regardless of differing views, the controversy affected her reputation for many years. To avoid the intense public attention in France, Coco left for Switzerland, where she lived quietly for several years. Chapter 29. A new beginning. For nearly a decade after the war, Coco lived quietly in Switzerland. She watched from a distance as the fashion world changed. New designers dominated Paris, and luxurious, highly structured clothing became fashionable again. But Coco believed women deserved something different. She thought fashion should serve women, not control them. In 1954, at 71 years old, she returned to Paris and reopened the House of Chanel. Many newspapers dismissed her comeback. Some critics called her ideas outdated. Others predicted her business would fail within months. But Coco had faced rejection before. She wasn't afraid. Chapter 30. Winning the world again, her first collection received mixed reviews in France. Some fashion critics were disappointed. However, women in Britain and the United States saw something different. They loved the comfort, simplicity, and elegance of Chanel's designs. Orders began arriving from around the world. Slowly, the critics changed their opinions. Once again, Coco Chanel proved that timeless style could outlast temporary trends. The Chanel suit became an international symbol of sophistication. Her quilted handbags, elegant jackets, and refined designs became icons of luxury. The comeback that many believed was impossible had become one of the greatest success stories in fashion history. Chapter 31. A life dedicated to work even in her 70s and 80s. Coco maintained an extraordinary work ethic. She visited her atelier almost every day. She adjusted designs herself. She inspected fabrics with the same attention to detail she had shown as a young seamstress. Her employees often said she never truly stopped working. Fashion wasn't simply her profession. It was her purpose. She once suggested that success comes from continuing to create, no matter your age or the obstacles in your path. That philosophy defined her entire life. Chapter 32. The woman behind the legend. Although the world knew Coco Chanel as a powerful businesswoman, those closest to her described a far more complicated person. She could be charming and generous. She could also be demanding and fiercely independent. She rarely accepted limits. She valued discipline, perfection, and personal freedom above almost everything else. The hardships of her childhood never completely left her. The little girl who had once feared poverty continued to work relentlessly, perhaps because she never wanted to experience that insecurity again. Her past shaped both her strengths and her flaws. Chapter 33. The final days. On January 10, 1971, Coco Chanel spent another day doing what she loved most. She worked. She reviewed fashion sketches. She discussed future collections. Even at 87 years old, she was still planning new ideas. Later that evening, she passed away peacefully in her room at the Ritz Hotel in Paris. The fashion world fell silent. Tributes came from designers, artists, journalists, and admirers across the globe. A woman who had begun life in poverty had become one of the most influential figures in fashion history. Chapter 22. An international empire. By the late 1920s, the House of Chanel had grown into an international business. Customers traveled from Europe and America to visit her Paris boutique. Hollywood actresses began wearing Chanel designs. Photographs of elegant women dressed in Chanel appeared in magazines across the globe. Her influence reached far beyond France. Young designers studied her work. Fashion schools discussed her revolutionary ideas. She had become one of the most respected names in the industry. Chapter 23. A perfectionist at heart. Although Coco was famous around the world, she remained deeply involved in every detail of her work. She inspected fabrics herself. She adjusted collars, sleeves, and hems until they were exactly right. Sometimes she asked her staff to remake a garment several times if it didn't meet her standards. Employees admired her creativity but also knew she demanded excellence. For Coco, perfection wasn't optional. It was essential. Chapter 24. The Great Depression. In 1929, the world was shaken by the Great Depression. Businesses collapsed. Banks failed. Millions of people lost their jobs. Even the luxury fashion industry suffered. Sales slowed dramatically. Many designers struggled to keep their companies alive. Coco faced difficult decisions. She reduced production and adapted her business to survive. Despite the economic crisis, she refused to compromise the quality of her designs. She believed that difficult times required resilience, not surrender. Chapter 25. A woman ahead of her time. Coco Chanel lived life according to her own rules. She chose independence over convention. She built a business in an era when few women owned major companies. She negotiated with powerful businessmen as an equal. She made decisions without asking for permission. Many admired her courage. Others criticized her independence. But no one could ignore her influence. She inspired generations of women to pursue their ambitions and believe in their own. Chapter 34. A legacy that never faded after Coco's death. Many wondered whether the House of Chanel could survive without its founder. The answer became clear with time. Her timeless philosophy continued to inspire designers and fashion lovers around the world. The little black dress remained an essential piece of women's wardrobes. Chanel No. 5 continued to be one of the world's most famous perfumes. The Chanel suit became a symbol of confidence and elegance. The famous interlocking CC logo became one of the most recognizable luxury symbols on Earth. Her influence extended beyond clothing. She changed the way women thought about fashion, freedom, and self-expression. Chapter 35. Lessons from Coco Chanel's life. Coco Chanel's journey was never perfect. It included remarkable achievements, painful losses, and serious controversies that remain part of her historical legacy. Her life reminds us that great success does not erase difficult chapters, and history often remembers both accomplishments and mistakes. Yet her story also offers enduring lessons. Your beginning does not determine your future. Hard work and persistence can open unexpected doors. Innovation often begins by questioning old traditions. Simplicity can become timeless. True confidence comes from believing in your own vision, even when others doubt you. Imagine that 12-year-old girl standing alone in an orphanage. She had no fortune, no famous family, no powerful name, only a needle, thread, determination, and a dream. From those humble beginnings, she built one of the most influential fashion houses in history. Her designs changed how millions of women dressed. Her perfume became legendary. Her name became a symbol recognized in every corner of the world. Coco Chanel's story is not one of perfection. It is a story of resilience, creativity, ambition, and transformation. She proved that elegance is not simply found in beautiful clothes. It is found in courage. It is found in perseverance. And it is found in the determination to keep moving forward, no matter where life begins. More than a century after she first picked up a needle and thread, her influence continues to shape the world of fashion. The orphan who dreamed of a better life became a legend whose name will be remembered for generations. This is the story of Coco Chanel, a woman who changed fashion forever, and whose legacy continues to inspire the world. The end.
Difficult. Gabrielle quietly asked herself a question that few designers dared to consider. What if fashion could be elegant and comfortable? That simple question would later revolutionize the fashion industry.